So where will the lodge's effluent go? If it's going to, if they're going to put that much water over and over and over again into this little box of soil, where's all the water going to go? So I want you to just consider 2 points on the map here. This is the intersection of Bishops Lodge Road and Big Tesuque Canyon. I picked it because that's where I live. And this is Shadoni. To understand where the water is going to go, where this effluent coming out of the leach field is going to go, you need to look at the water gradients at Bishop's Lodge and those two down gradient locations. At Bishop's Lodge, the soil level at the leach field is 7,115 feet. If you take the average of the 8 to 12 foot water table during the snow melt, during snow melt, water table is 10 feet below that at 7,105 feet. And during the dry season, it's at 7,092. That's where the water level is at Bishop's Lodge. Now let's go downstream and see what it looks like. This is the natural water gradient, just the gradient created by gravity as it pulls water through the ground to ever lower elevations. At Bishop's Lodge, they start out at 7,115 feet, and the groundwater is at 7,103. You come down to Big Tesuque Canyon, the elevation of the ground is 6,060 to 6,070 feet. The ground is over 100 feet below the water level at Bishop's Lodge. And if you go down to Shadoni, the ground is 6,832 feet. It's over 200 feet lower than the ground is over 200 feet lower than Bishop's Lodge water table. And all of that water, all of that, you've got all of the volume of water in the mountains above Bishop's Lodge, on the hills on which Bishop's Lodge and the hills and villas sit, of the surrounding ravine, all of that is pushing, pressuring the water down to the lower gradient. The natural gradient is pushing that water and it's moving down. Depending on the transmissivity of the soils and the pressure, determines how fast that gradient moves. We need a hydrogeologist to tell us that. Might be a year, might be 10 years. It's probably more likely a year. But that's only the natural gradient. All of those wells you saw, they're pumping water out. They're taking these water levels down. They are increasing the differential, the gradient differential. Bishop's Lodge is pumping 3,000 gallons a day into their leach field. Everybody else down below is pumping water out of their wells. And that differential is making this an even steeper and faster gradient for groundwater flow. Has anybody looked at this and analyzed what the effect of that's going to be and how long before the effluent from the leach field arrives in your well? No. So where will the lodge's effluent go? Right down Bishop's Lodge Road, impacting hundreds of groundwater wells. That's where it's going to go. But wait, what am I worried about? Isn't the lodge's effluent treated before discharge? I mean, come on. This water is, as I think one bureaucrat at MED said, this treatment plant is like a Ferrari. We should be thankful they're doing this. Well, yeah, the effluent is partially treated before discharge, but it's treated to remove only a subset of specific contaminants. This is how you game the regulations. You figure out what contaminants NMD regulates, and you design your treatment plant to remove those. Everything else just goes through. And the Lodge's treatment plant, as they've admitted, cannot remove pharmaceutical waste, volatile organics, PFAs, heavy metals, anything else in that waste stream other than the specific contaminants NMD tells them to remove, they don't remove. And they all go through the treatment plant and they're all going into the leach field. Moreover, nothing prevents or restricts the lodge, its guests, or its residents from disposing of such contaminants in the lodge's waste stream. Who's going to stop Mildred or Bernie from throwing away their pharmaceuticals in the toilet? And who's going to stop Eddie in the garage from dumping the volatile organics down the drain? Nothing requires the lodge to test for or remove such contaminants before discharge. So they just put them in the leach field, take them out of the treatment, take their effluent from the treatment plant, put it in the leach field. They never test for any of these other contaminants that they're not required to remove. So we have no idea what's in this effluent stream. It's going to be up to us to figure that out. And we're only going to find out when it comes out of our faucet.